Sci-Fi.
Hey everybody, welcome to Real Life Sci-Fi with Wade and Willie. I'm Wade.
Willie.
This is a paranormal podcast. This is a podcast about paranormal and contemporary mythology. Join us on patreon.com/reallifesci-fi for access to 2 bonus episodes a week, video feeds, and more. Visit RealLifeSciFi.show for all the links. Let's welcome aboard the SSRLSF, our good friend, Golden Jacket wearer, right?
Emmy
Golden
winner.
It's in the mail, right? The jacket.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah, Emmy winner, filmmaker, Aaron Moles. What up?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing great. Everything's up. Everything's going great.
Yeah, everything's good in Hollywood.
Yep.
It's all good in Hollywood. That's like
I'm
working.
Laid off as soon. I'm not working. I don't think anybody's working right now.
I gladly take more.
Yeah.
We're done. I think we're on our way down.
It's not us, it's everyone. We gotta come up with some kind of NFTV show. That's what we'll call it, an NFTV show, and we'll fucking whatever. How's it going, man?
It's going good. I've been playing the new Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaws. It's like Assassin's Creed, but with Star Wars. It's like the exact same game, basically.
No lightsabers, right? They're like, what's fun about Star Wars? I don't know, Han Solo. Yes, Han Solo. Yeah. He's the best part of Star Wars. Let's make a whole game about guys like Han Solo.
But it's not Han Solo. It's someone else. It's a new IP character.
Yeah, it's Rebel Outlaws.
Yeah,
some kind of rebel outlaw.
She's not a rebel.
Is it fun? I don't know. Oh, it's a woman.
Yeah, it's fun.
Are you a smuggler?
Yeah. Well, you're
the Kessel run in the first hour.
No, but you get to fly into space and all that stuff. I did the subscription. You can order the Ubisoft subscription and play it that way instead of paying like $100 for the game, which is what they're asking for these days, which is insane.
Yeah. How much is the subscription?
It's like $18
a month.
Yeah, and you get like the whole access to the whole library.
Oh, but you're playing on a computer, right?
Yeah. It is on. It's on PC. It's not on the PS5 yet.
I'm still on PS4. I don't think I'll ever get another console again. But
it's faster. It loads faster. The PS5 Pro was just revealed today. Actually, they're charging $700 for that. I would not like what I've seen out of that. It's not worth the $700 upgrade.
What's pro about it?
The image is slightly sharper on your 4K TV. It's like barely an upgrade. And there's no disc drive. That's another reason why I got one. Is so I can have a 4K Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
And the new one doesn't have an optical drive at all.
Anyone without 20/20 vision doesn't need 4K, right? I mean, like, it's going to be blurry no matter what for me.
Yeah. Even now, I've started to feel my eyes start to go. I got a 4K TV by chance, but like, I mean, it's worth it. I think I notice it at least.
I think mine's 4K, but I don't fucking care. I just pirate everything.
Yeah.
Everything I watch looks like shit.
I know.
Yeah, I watch 1080p stuff and it upreses just fine. It's not like when you watch an SD thing on a 1080 screen and everything looks.
That's the
shitty.
worst. Like I tried watching Laserdisc.
We accepted that for so many decades.
Well, on a CRT TV, it doesn't look.
It doesn't look as bad. Yeah.
What, standard def?
Yeah.
They shot it on film though. Like Cheers, they shot that shit on film.
Yeah. Well, Star Trek: The Next Generation was a huge.
True. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no,
they did. They shot it on film. So. They shot Cheers on film. They probably edited it. They probably edited it.
I don't think they shot on film, did they? It was all
Cheers,
going into the studio and live
cutting. Cheers is progressive images, so it's definitely shot on film. It was probably edited on video though, like because what they do is they shoot on film.
Frasier were shot on film. Frasier?
Yeah. You can tell just by looking at the image. Interlace versus progressive.
You can.
I haven't seen Frasier.
I don't
know. That stuff drove me nuts as a kid though, because I was like, why do soap operas look like this and Airwolf look like that? I don't get it. Why does Knight Rider look like that in soap operas? Why does the news look different? That I didn't understand until like close to college what that was.
Well, you've been on the show a million times. It's almost redundant to the WoW scale. Should we just say that you're like a? Should we just say you're like a 1? You haven't been here since there's the new ones. Let's just do it real quick, okay?
Okay.
Wow. Well, scale is a 5-question quiz. At the end of the quiz, I'll give you a score anywhere between 0 and 5. If you're more of a 0, you're more of a Wade. If you're more of a 5, you're more of a Willy. Are you ready to be Wade on the WoW scale?
I'm ready.
First question, 3-parter. Do you believe in aliens? If so, have they visited Earth? If so, have they visited Earth in the last 300 years?
Yes to aliens. I think ultimately, I don't know if they visited Earth, but I'm a little more open to that. And then have they visited in the last 300 years? That's a tough one because I do think it's, if you think about the Prometheus thing, the starseed thing, where maybe something like a meteorite full of bacteria crashed into our planet, or
yeah, but that would have been
aliens,
thousands of years ago, right?
Yeah, true. I'm iffy on the 300 years thing. I don't know, but I don't rule it out.
Ghosts.
I have softened on it. No, residual energy from your life force, but I don't believe in conscious ghosts in the way we think of them.
Bigfoot.
No, too many cameras now. We would have seen them by now.
I don't know if you know these ones. Illuminati.
Yes.
In what capacity do you believe in the Illuminati?
I think that there are private closed-door meetings to set policy agendas in the world on some level. I don't want to be too much of a conspiracy theorist about it because I feel like the elites make plans or whatever, and then we always fuck them up as people. It's like trying to herd cats, in a way. But I do think that there are definitely groups. There's a lot of people that go to Yale and wind up in governments,
Sure.
That kind of stuff.
The multiverse.
That's a tough one because I actually used to really buy into that, and I actually have gone more skeptical on that as I've gotten older. I don't know about alternate timelines and alternate universes. I think there's other dimensions that we're not able to process as humans.
Yeah, but that would exist in our universe, right? We just don't see it.
Yeah, it'd be another vector of how we perceive the universe. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll give you a no on that one. Yeah, you're like a 1, 2, maybe.
I think I'm probably a 2.
All right. Well, without further ado, I think we're talking about aliens today or something. Willie, hit us with the topic.
Tonight on Real Life Sci-Fi, UAPs, UFOs, what is this madness? The Department of Defense recently released their AARO report in February, the Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. And guess what? There's nothing to any of this. But there are some people out there saying, hey, they lied on this report, and this is all going to come out very soon, and we're going to have a different picture of what this UAP phenomenon is. So let's dive into it. Let's find out what we're talking about tonight on Real Life Sci-Fi.
Jeez, man, these ufologists, like, how many times have they got to be wrong? This is like a cult leader who says that the world's gonna end and then it doesn't. Like, come on, just fucking do something, world.
So here's what I think is going to change in the next few years. First off, let me summarize this thing again. You can access this report. They put out 63 pages if you count the table of contents. CIA, Department of Defense, they released this report because of all the UAP madness. And I always forget, UAP is not unidentified aerial phenomenon now. It's unidentified anomalous phenomenon.
Right.
And so they went and re-looked at everything, and they just have a new report now that says there's nothing. There's no aliens. It's just stuff we can't explain. It's just things of the universe that we don't understand yet. Looking at all things secret. There's no way they're getting everything still. I think
sure
they burned a lot of stuff. They, look at the Kennedy reports that came out. If you say you've looked at those reports, they're all blacked out still. So like, you can't say you've looked at them. And
there's more to come on the Kennedy stuff, right?
There is supposed to be more, but the last dump that they did had nothing. So there's no way that there's going to be anything more to it. There's no way.
Wow.
And so for this stuff, there's no way this report team, because there were, after Project Blue Book, which was like the last big Air Force research into the aerial phenomena, UFOs, there were several different versions before that. They said, it's nothing. And there were at least 700 videos of phenomena that they could not identify. Most of them, they got thousands. I think they got like 18,000 videos or something. I don't know. I could be wrong. Most of them like, I know what that is. That's this. They could identify things. There were 700 things that they could not identify.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't think that those 700 videos still exist for this new the new people doing this report to like look at those.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just like, I got it like kind of in the foreground here. So we know what the AARO report says. The Aaron report says that they're using a bunch of shifty like government speak. It's like AARO has found no verifiable evidence that any UAP sighting has represented extraterrestrial activity. Like, how do you verify that?
Yeah, there's terminology. So because of this congressional hearing that came, David Grush was there saying like, and there's so many people that have come out and said, I have firsthand account that there is proof of this. A lot of those they're not accepting as evidence because,
right.
Oh, you saw a photo. Well, a photo could be faked. You didn't see the alien craft. I mean, that's the whole thing in the secret world. Most people aren't going to speak up. And for people that did work in these projects and saw pieces of things, David Grush said that there is an active UAP retrieval secret group, and they have been reverse engineering stuff forever, and that they claimed at least Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin were partaking in the reverse engineering of these crafts. And people from both of those companies have come out and whistleblown the fact that they're working on these things, because if you were working on reverse engineering an alien craft and the world laughs at aliens and UFOs, alien is still such a weird word, but I would feel like it's your duty as a human to be like, hey, there actually is something going on. I don't know what it is, but there actually is something weird. And so that is really what's going to come out because this report came out, because there's so many people that have expert witness testimony of things that should have been put in front of this report that were not, or they're 100% lying about it. And there's a few people that I'm going to talk about that have specific things. This whole topic came up because I watched a video recently of a whistleblower stating that they have the technology to have two lasers from space hit one spot and create a light, and they can move it around just like a laser pointer, a cat looking at a laser pointer,
like on the atmosphere.
Anywhere.
Yeah, what's it hitting?
Anywhere the laser's hitting itself. And so it can be
It's two
anywhere.
lasers. Okay.
Not only can people see the orb of light, it moves around and they're like, hey, we can make it do whatever we want. And it shows up on radar. It shows up as a physical thing on radar.
That's weird.
And they do it to not only test how our enemies deal with UFOs and UAPs, but also our own military. This guy worked for the Air Force. And he was like, yeah, we did it on our guys all the time. Some of the videos you've seen that have been released as UAPs is us doing it, and they don't know how to react to. So it shows up as a physical thing. It's like a new laser technology. Yeah,
the right hand isn't talking to the left hand. Yeah, because we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah, between all the misinformation, disinformation, all these different top secret, I do believe that there is some weird stuff going on. But like I usually say, I don't think that they drove here from another galaxy.
Sure.
Science that we don't know yet, or they're probably interdimensional. But this guy's saying that there's so much information that this is going to come out, but this is their way of kind of still capping it and keeping control of the public, because they need to release this the way they want to.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, same old story, right? Like, I don't know. I'm struggling to come up with anything to say, because it's like, yeah, it's just us going like, I wonder what this could be. And then, no, it's the government's covering it up. It's like, all right, I just have fatigue.
Yeah.
I don't know. 2 lasers, sure. Whatever. Like, let me know when you can give me some universal basic income, and
I now that was my fear too of tonight's topic, is that like, well, I feel like we've just been saying the same things over and over. So what do we have that's new, right? So one of these guys that's spearheading a lot of this stuff, he will probably take the person in charge of this report, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who was the former director of the Anomaly Resolution Office. He's claiming that he's lying about information on this report, and that he can take him to court for it, put him in front of Congress. So this guy,
report that says nothing.
Yeah. Because he has presented him specifically with stuff. So he knows that he's lying. And so this guy who I'm talking about, his name is Daniel Sheehan. He is a civil rights attorney. Okay, sounds weird. What are you doing in the UFO world?
I just pulled up a
Aliens have
picture of
civil
him.
rights too.
He looks exact. He has that. He definitely has the hair for a UFO guy.
Yeah, for sure. He looks like a UFO rock star.
Yeah.
So this guy in the past was responsible for getting the Pentagon Papers to the Washington Post. He was basically responsible for the Iran-Contra scandal coming to light.
Oh, okay.
And also he works for a company called the New Paradigm Institute, but he was one of the main, if not the main guy that was responsible for getting some of the new UAP stuff out. So here's the thing. This guy, here's some of his evidence. When Jimmy Carter was about to be sworn in to be president, he wanted to be debriefed about UFOs because if I'm going to be president, I want to know about these potential relationships. Now, Jimmy Carter had a UFO sighting and he believed in this stuff. Who shows up at his door? The CIA director, George Bush Sr.
Of course.
And George Bush Sr. says, no, I don't need to tell you this stuff. You don't need to know this stuff. George Bush Sr. was appointed to be CIA director by the previous president, Gerald Ford.
Yeah.
And so he was about to lose his job. And George Bush is like, if you keep me on as the CIA director, I'll let you in. Well, Carter did not do that. And he called on Congress and was like, hey, we need to figure out what's going on. We need to know what's these people are keeping secrets from us that, Black Project money, all this stuff. And at this point, Daniel Sheehan became special counsel for Carter to work with this stuff, right? So he was given access to the secret Project Blue Book files. This is 1977. He goes into a secret room. He's in a microfiche room and he finds some stuff and he starts flipping through. He's allowed to look at this stuff and he finds a crashed UFO surrounded by Air Force people. It's got weird hieroglyphic style symbols on it. He takes out his notepad and opens it up and puts the cardboard underneath the microfiche thing so he can trace the symbols that are on the craft. Anyways, on his way out, they're like, hey, you're not supposed to have anything. They flipped through his thing and they didn't go to the last cardboard and didn't see that. I'm like, oh, there's nothing on there. So they let him take it. He goes off. Saw a picture of a UFO from the Project Blue Book files, has these symbols traced, whatever. And then later on, when he was working on the Pentagon Papers, he was like dealing with JFK. He found out that JFK had 2 reports issued by this Congressional Research Service about the abstract. He basically got UFO reports, Kennedy.
Yeah.
One of them was like, hey, Drake's equation, things are so far away.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. But also in another report said that there are at least 2 to 6 other highly intelligent non-human species in our galaxy. So Kennedy was given that. So Kennedy was about to team up with Khrushchev and have a joint Soviet space program. So that's some of his information that he had. He's seen some secret things and he submitted these things to this AARO report. And
There's new ones?
Yeah. So because they said, no, we had nothing. They're like, well, I know you're lying because I submitted shit.
He submitted some scratchings that he had done. I mean,
and they wouldn't listen.
I'm not saying he's lying, but if I'm on some official thing and some guy gives me like tracings, I'm like, cool, man.
No. He didn't get the tracings. He submitted his testimony as a civil rights attorney, and he knows law. Like he says like his witness testimony would stand up in court, so he's going to take him to court.
He's taking him to Congress, and as we all know, Congress always gets to the bottom of everything. Yeah, like that won't turn out completely meaningless at all.
Well, but
they're great at their job.
I agree with you, but he's also teaming up with all these other witnesses that worked on some of these programs that have eyewitness testimony. Because
you got to take it to Woodward, man. He's like still the only guy who will do shit.
And doesn't he just like live off the publicity of his thing now, or does he actually do anything?
No, I think he did. He writes books. Didn't he do so? I don't know the difference between Woodward or Bernstein. I don't know which, but I'm pretty sure
one's Robert Redford. I think Woodward's Robert Redford.
So he's probably the main one then.
He has the hair.
Who was Bernstein in that movie?
Dustin Hoffman, I think.
Yeah.
Oh well, shit. So those guys are both leading men. So who knows who the main one is? But didn't one of them just recently kind of do something? I don't think it was Spotlight or anything, but I'm pretty sure that they're
Oh,
at least
maybe.
one of them is still kind of like doing some sort of investigative shit. But anyway, it's like kind of like as long as this stuff stays within the realm of government and any kind of like official proceedings, it's like, yeah, duh, like these people, I'm not saying they're saying to fucking Marge like what the secret alien shit is, but like she's not gonna fucking get to the bottom of it.
What would be the consequences? Could we sue the military contractors if they lied to us?
That's the thing. So this recent congressional thing, Congress said this. Somebody in Congress is clearly a puppet and was like, we're only going to sign this
They're all puppets.
if you don't write into the whatever you call it, it's not a bill, whatever
Report.
the penalties for breaking this.
They're not going to lose their contracts.
They didn't write in any penalties. So yeah, it's this thing that they can always skirt around because like, well, we broke the law, but it doesn't say what they can do to us.
The whole thing is like, if it's the government trying to keep it from us, it's not like some judge is going to be like, all right, government, pony up. So it's like, who cares? Like I know I get in trouble for saying who cares, but like it just feels like fucking running on the beach,
because
like,
even if he does get in trouble, they're not going to give us information. Can we do something to Northrop Grumman or Lockheed Martin to make them, they're just regular contractors who are very connected.
I mean, they probably run the country on some level, so I don't think so.
And like I mean, you can work on a movie, but you sign an NDA.
Yeah. There's definitely things you can't talk about especially when it comes to like military technology. They don't want our enemies getting a heads up. They want North Korea knowing about our floating.
Well, and especially if it's all just tests and they're all just going like, we need to know how our military is going to react if there ever is an alien thing. Then it's like a matter of national security, and then like all the rules change, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
This guy who's I think he's the current head of the CIA, John Brennan, maybe maybe that just changed.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's coming out and saying that sure, the UFO cover up is real. Like of course they're covering up things. It may not. He's not saying that there's aliens, but they're definitely covering up stuff. And he says it's not what you think. And he's definitely being coy and trying not to get in trouble. But for him to say it's not what you think.
It's also the most ambiguous thing you could ever say because nobody thinks the same. What do I think? I don't know. So it's not what I think? Okay. I have no idea what it is. Before and after that statement.
Even if you did know, there's nothing you could do about it. It's William Burns is the current head of the CIA.
Okay, thanks. Let's say this UFO retrieval program, right? Basically, secret military has to show up, fucking make sure they talk to everyone who saw anything, scare them somehow, get the craft out of there, get rid of all the evidence, which, is a pretty hard job.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? What do you think about this? Occam's razor, like what if the whole thing is like, yeah, no, there's no UFOs, and that's why it's so easy to cover up because no one actually has any info. If we're talking about 70 years of alien stuff and not one concrete piece of evidence, at what point do you just go, all right, that's not real. None of it's real.
Well, everything's a process. It's all ongoing. We could close the program and then something happens tomorrow and then we got to reopen it. You got to reopen the X-Files,
We're trying to piece together what could be concrete evidence, right? So the guy who, and I don't remember names, the guy who found the Roswell crash, he claimed that, and his grandson claimed too, because he kept a piece of metal for a hot second. Mm-hmm. And he said it was as thin as foil. And if you wrinkled it up, it would get back straight. In the town where supposedly the craft went to, there's a company that came up and they came up with this new type of metal. They're finally using it now. When it gets cold, it like shrinks up. And then when it gets hot, it expands. So it's as thin as aluminum foil. And they're making basically a free energy machine with it because they have it spinning, right? And it's going from cold water to hot water. And this metal has a memory. So it starts to learn what it's doing, and then it starts working more than reacting. And so they've made these machines that, like, all you do is you take this metal wheel and spin it into cold water, hot water, and it contracts and expands every time it changes. And then it just runs on its own. And so it's basically a generator that won't quit based on this metal that was invented in the same city where the craft supposedly went. And it's the same
Could solve
description.
our energy issues. It's probably clean energy too.
Yeah.
What is this? Is this real, or is it more
Well,
alien stuff?
I'm bringing it up. I was going to do it as a topic, but now I'm pulling it from memory just because it applies. So I don't have
Because it's coincidental that it came from the same place where the UFO allegedly crashed.
Yeah, and the company has not. It was where the craft was sent to.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. I'm sorry, but like,
No,
we don't even know if it crashed. So to know where it was sent, it's just like, and then this metal, which we don't have any proof of.
I mean, let's
We
not
know there was
talk
a
about.
crash in Roswell for sure, right?
No.
Like, it was a weather balloon, but there was a crash.
Well, there was a story about a crash, but nobody knows for sure that there was an actual crash.
Something crashed, and the Air Force has owned up to it 4 different times. They've changed the story 4 different times. First in the news, this is reported by the military. It was an alien craft, and then they changed it to it was a weather balloon, and then they changed it to they were dropping dummies from the atmosphere to test how they land. Basically, there definitely was a crash.
I thought that was accepted. Yeah,
not accepted by me. This is a Jeopardy question for both of you. I don't know what the category would be, but the answer is this award-winning film director was married to Carl Bernstein.
Who is
Catherine Bigelow? That's my.
Nope.
I'm trying to think of female directors, assuming he's not gay.
Oh, who is Peggy Marshall?
Oh,
No.
Penny Marshall. Who is Penny Marshall?
Nora Ephron. Who is Nora Ephron?
Okay. The director of Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail. And Michael. Oh, shit.
What are you talking about? You don't know who Nora Ephron is?
I know who she is, but like I didn't know what she did.
She's the best.
Wrote When Harry Met Sally. All right.
So I know that in the realm of UAP, UFOs, like, we're never going to have concrete evidence until they get it out there. Because even when somebody has something, they don't have anything,
Right.
But,
I don't want to distract you, but like, even then people are going to be questioning it. And even in your circle, right? Like, well, that's not right. Like, all these alien people are going to be fighting about it. I'm sorry, but go on.
And even though I do believe in multidimensional beings and whatnot, but all the things that I've seen of recent makes me go like, well, dude, what if the reason why there is a UFO retrieval secret group is because they're trying to hide time travel from everybody?
My first thought is, did you see the picture that went around and people think this kid had an iPad?
Yeah, I've seen
it's not a fucking iPad.
Oh, people do that all the time.
Dude, I know. It's just
the time traveler. The time traveler with the phone at
the Tyson fight,
Abraham Lincoln's
iPhone. It's like,
the
dude,
phone, the fucking guy that had sunglasses that were too modern. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
Look at his Michigan shirt. Look at his hair. They didn't have hair like that. I'm like, dude, they had the most beautiful hair in the world back then. Like, everybody had great fucking hair. Like,
so
yeah, I don't buy into any of those time travel.
No, I know, but that was just my first thought.
If there was any sort of time travel going on, these
then there's
guys
no
would
justice.
be the same.
If there was time travel, then there is no justice, right? What's a worse version of this world?
Yeah, right.
It's pretty bad. I don't know.
So what have they been doing with this time travel technology? Just making it worse? Just better for the billionaires? That's what they've been doing?
In the future, they understand the butterfly effect, and they know that they just can't come back here and set everything right, because then they might not be born.
Well, the reason why I don't necessarily believe in time travel crafts doing stuff is because if there was any sort of like evil overarching agenda that we hear about, and Well, also, who has access to the time travel machines? But future people would, I mean, they don't want to change history, but
Well, but
you
if they
think that,
do, we do, right? I mean, like,
yeah.
Yeah.
how, this is your theory, right?
For him to say that we don't know what it is, my immediate answer is okay, you can't explain multidimensional
Oh,
beings to
his
people.
cryptic thing.
But I also don't want to go in that direction because it's so heady
Well,
that we can't even.
I mean, it's that, but like, so is time travel, right? Because like that, because now we're just going to be talking like, how far back can you go, and what kind of what's the machine look like, and do you get a Doc Brown situation where if you go back too far, you can't go back to the future?
Because you lost fuel on the DeLorean and you just can't refine
Yeah,
fuel in the 1800s.
right. What was I thinking?
It's impossible.
I think if you create a time machine, just whatever you do, don't go back the first thing that you do. Like you always got to go forward so that you know you can gear up, right?
Not if it's like a nuclear wasteland. I mean, then you go into the future and you find out, or you go into the future and you find there's a building where you are, and then your cells fuse to the concrete, and you just red mist.
I guess that's worse than living in the 50s, but just by a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't want to live in the 50s. Got to
I don't
treat
think I
black
would
people
either.
all bad and stuff, or else they beat you up too. That sucks. You're taking his quote to mean something salacious, right? He's like, it's not what you think, because he's like being a little scamp. He's going like, ooh, it could be anything. But what he's not hinting at is that it's nothing, right? Like he's not,
Yeah.
because he wouldn't
And
do that. He wouldn't say.
And so I kind of wanted to get into a few different things of
Yeah.
what they could be, right? So one sure, time travelers. I do like the idea of future humans that look like aliens traveling through time. I can believe that more than humans that look like us being like, oh wow, I went back and got Babe Ruth's rookie card and then put some gold aside.
Yeah.
Greedy.
But yeah, but we don't
greed.
know. But we don't know anyone who got rich that way, right? Everyone got rich by like apartheid and
Yeah.
Their family owned a diamond mine, and that's how it goes.
Colonizations. Yeah. Taking advantage of other people.
I wish there was a guy who got rich just Biff Tannen style, just winning bets. That would be amazing if we had a billionaire who was just really good at betting.
I've been watching all these videos of how casinos are cheating us with like,
oh yeah,
card shuffle machines that can pick out cards for you and roulette machines that can stop on numbers. Or I'm just like, fuck, dude. It scares me. I don't want to. I love gambling. I love Vegas.
The
But
integrity of the Vegas casinos has been questioned.
Okay, sure, but I feel like they don't need to, right? Like that seems like a lot to do to a guy doing $25 blackjack.
Listen.
Yeah, they've been expanding
but
pretty regularly.
Everyone thinks the mafia went away. I don't think they ever stopped being in charge and taking advantage of situations.
I think like a lot of things, they went mainstream. I think they're more legitimate now than they used to be. They're still gaming the system in their own way. It's like how in the medieval times, warfare was more brutal, and now we have our more cerebral style of pussyfooting around combat. We conquer nations economically now. We don't necessarily do it through warfare. I think the mafia has kind of done that.
We're not going to lose on slot machines because it's programmable.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fair.
But that's
there's still a way to win.
Well, that's the gambling part, right?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It's just as random as balls coming out of a machine for the lotto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I trust balls more than randomization machines. Have you ever tried a randomizer machine and it's just like, oh, I got the same number 4 times in a row? Like this might be true random, but it's also programmed, so I don't like it.
I think we should probably rob a casino, and then we'll find out pretty quickly if the mob exists or not.
Yeah, it's just chips. You just rob it and you get the chips from the casino.
And then you spend the next 50 years of your life going in to cash it at the bank.
Yeah, so no
$100 at a time. There's a guy I was just I was doing this gambling job for a little bit. One of the dealer guys or bankers or whatever, he was like pocketing chips, but then he didn't know what to do with them. He had like, it could be $5,000, it could be $20,000. I don't know what it was, but he just had a shoebox full of chips in his closet because he didn't know how to cash them in. It's like the dumbest guy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Too many.
And then
It's like all of a
they
sudden,
just busted him. They just got his shoebox and they're like, "What's this?" And so he got nothing out of it.
Wow. Don't they get tips though? Don't they get tipped in chips? Can't you just say that they're tips?
In California, if it's not an Indian casino or whatever the PC term is now, it's called a card room, not a casino, and you have to be able to take money off of the other players, not the house. The house is not putting up the money. So these companies have come in and they act as the house and they pay out all the bets and then they take all the losses. So
Oh
this guy
wow.
worked for, and no one tips them because it's like, well, you're just
Yeah.
like,
I'm already
whatever.
paying
So
for the bet, so I'm not going to tip.
yeah.
Sometimes they do, but yeah, that's more. It's probably more of a Vegas thing.
Well, Vegas doesn't have to worry about it. Vegas is the house. You tip the dealer. This is
Yes.
different than
Yes.
the dealer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But
Never
anyway,
mind.
One other silly idea I had was picture the Earth is like the Truman Show, and there's people trying to break in to get on the TV show. The spacecraft retrieval thing is like trying to shoo out the the extras trying to say hi. Or
I would not rule out us being an alien ant farm on some level, like a literal alien ant farm.
what could they farm from us just existing?
Misery.
Sure, there's I
Yeah.
like the misery, the
Reality
bad
television?
vibes, whatever. But would they, you picture all these missing people? Are they also taking people?
They probably saw us create reality TV and they're like, oh, they're doing the same to themselves as we do to them.
It's
Whoa.
so meta. It's so meta.
Yeah.
The
It's
ant has
working.
an ant farm.
Yeah, right. If your ants just suddenly took over ticks and they were just making them like fight,
Yeah.
that's pretty fun because then that means that UFOs are just like cars to them. And some guy like crashed
Yeah.
his car into the studio to get on the show.
Could there be anything in this realm of UAP stuff like somehow revealing truths to a simulation?
I don't know, but there's a lot of really smart people that are starting to believe that simulation theory is valid on some level.
Yeah, but they've been saying that for years, and I've never heard an actual explanation on to how that, like, what that actually looks like. What's the tangible?
But I'm trying to figure out what is the level above us. What like
Right.
are we in the Matrix hooked up to machines? Are we
There's one physicist
soul crystals?
and I forget his name. He's a black gentleman, and he's got gray long hair. And he was saying how they found the smallest thing, and it's basically computer code.
What do you mean? Did it look like numbers? Like what?
The smallest thing that we can detect is exactly the same as computer code.
Do you
Were there
think
parentheses?
that it was brackets and it was if, and then if society is going good, then ruin society.
If misery index below -3,
right.
then negative value,
more war.
Yeah.
James Gates claimed that the equations of string theory, which describe the fundamental particles of the universe, contain computer code. He found error correcting codes in the equations, which are the same codes that make web browsers work.
Yeah, get on it then, man. Like, thanks for doing that. Now solve it.
Now
it does nothing for me.
Make some magic.
Yeah, create something to, I don't know, fucking take the illusion away or something. Like, what if we're all just like walking skeletons and they've reanimated dead bodies?
Oh, that's very possible.
I mean, then you're like, okay, so we're in a simulation. Like,
we're already dead. We've been reanimated. Now we're here to atone for whatever we did in our actual lives. It's purgatory.
Yeah, that's like, but it's probably meaningless. It's probably just meaningless. It's probably just like, hey, this is a simulation. Let's see what happens. Like, that's science, right? Just like, let's okay, hit go. Oh, look, these people really like money. They're just doing everything for money.
Let's just make more of it.
Doing things for money, I feel like it's I've been on this tip for a while, but I'm like, I feel like it's more addiction than, I know that we need money, but we're addicted to money. We're addicted to spending. We're addicted to shopping, and everything that we eat is more addiction based than any sort of need.
I think we're more addicted to the idea of merit, and you can't have money unless it's warranted, unless you've done something to like have given you money. I think we're more addicted to like proving ourselves and being acknowledged for.
Yeah, it puts power and status at the end of the day. Money is a method to get there.
Oh, well,
No, but
I
power and
earned it
status,
all.
but yeah, sure. But
Influence.
But that's all secondary, I think. I think what we're in love with is like, because if you say like, well, give this guy some money, he's homeless or whatever, then people are like, why does he get money? I get to earn my money. It's just kind of like, okay, fair point, I guess, but what is money? Like,
Hmm.
if money is not a marker of achievement, then there is no achievement, right? And then it's like, if there was no money, how would you make any achievements? And how would you judge who's good and who's bad unless they hadn't achieved something?
Yeah. I mean,
So
Who's good for
I
it? Who's
agree that with that level of what we do to ourselves.
right. No, I'm just kind of rephrasing your addiction thing, that money is what's that saying? Money is
the root of all evil?
Ha! I was gonna say it's the symptom, not the. How does that go? It's the symptom, not the.
The symptom, not the disease.
Yeah.
Roughly, I think there's a more.
I think that the
Yeah.
disease is wanting to be a contributor, and the symptom is money. I mean, I'm sorry to just like boil down humanity like that, but prove me wrong.
It's all about resource acquisition.
Diamonds, they're fucking worthless.
They're completely worthless.
They're the most worthless thing in the world.
I know, dude.
But
That's so
but
funny.
enough advertising convinced people that they're like what you have to buy for $2,000.
And then we give helium to kids on their birthday.
Yeah.
What else?
We
What
are going to
else?
have we are going to have a future where there are no burnt balloons. Maybe they'll come up with something else. What's wrong with? I mean, hydrogen burns. That's the problem with hydrogen balloons.
There's another thing. I mean, honestly, like the whole Chinese balloon thing, if you remember that, was that last year or 2 years ago?
The one that was dropping shit on us?
Was it dropping shit? I think it floated above us. I think it was doing reconnaissance. I don't think
I'm conflating two different things.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the balloon Zeppelin concept, it still has a practical use, especially because like our aircraft can't get that high in the atmosphere, but a balloon can go higher.
Think about it like this. If you could just like strap yourself into a balloon to get to work, wouldn't that be better than however you're getting to work right now?
Yeah, and you just have like a parachute as like a safety just in case you have to fall out if there's an accident.
What a fun world that would be. We all got balloons. There's traffic jams, but we're in balloons.
Have you seen concept art from it's like in 1912 they had a vision of the future, and it was like the Jetsons, but everything is like wind based. It's like it's like BioShock Infinite a little bit.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, what a fun present we could have had. But no, they had to destroy the Hindenburg.
Lame.
Like, cars aren't explosive. Come on.
I've seen movies.
Yeah, they're always blowing up. That's like the main thing that blows up.
Even the electric ones now, like every version of the car is exploding.
Well, electric ones are probably ironically more explosive.
Yeah, people have died in Teslas.
So much stored energy.
Is there another fun idea for what this guy could have meant by UFOs are not what you think they are?
The only other one I had on, we talked about this recently on this show, but just the idea of there's some weird dark energy that we can't explain. And so I know that's a whole nother topic to explain what that is, but Moles, I know you probably
talk about though.
Get dark matter or
not a defined
dark
I shouldn't answer
entity.
For you.
Yeah, dark entity that is keeping us from enlightening ourselves.
Sure.
Because it feeds off of our...
it's called the television, man. You got to kill the TV. It's
like a more spiritual.
Mind.
You're saying like a more spiritual version of the last thing we talked about, like whatever we just got off of, right?
Yeah,
simulation stuff, like angels and demons, kind of like fighting it out and like. But why would they need if it's spiritual? And I know that's my word, not yours. But like, why would it be a physical craft? Or is it not?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Most UAPs, I believe, aren't necessarily physical. It's like the effects of seeing them in our dimension.
Well, but okay, but then that goes back to my whole thing. Like everyone agrees that there was a crash, right? So is
Yeah.
in this version, does this mean there was no crash and I was right all along in this version?
Well, I mean, I'll accept that, but I the,
Thank you, counselor.
I've always heard that when we started getting into now, radar is such a just blanket term, but there's so many technologies within radar. There's a certain
Sure.
radar that we learned how to take down crafts, and so we specifically have hit these crafts with our radar to take them down in remote areas so that we can retrieve them and then reverse engineer them. So it's not like they just crash randomly. It's like
Like the movie version is like they scrambled the navigation system and caused it to crash
Yeah.
into a
They
mountain that
inverted
it
the
didn't know was there.
altitude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
boop, boop. All right, let's go get it before anybody sees it. Oh, this fucking farmer. Okay, fuck him.
Right, and then continue with that thought, but that it's a dark energy or whatever.
Oh, if
like,
it is a dark energy entity, then it, when we talked about it, it was like this thing, and I've heard this in the reptilian world too, but this thing feeds off of fear. And so because there's a lot of fear here on the planet, it is creating fear for it to just survive here. And the best way for it to create fear is to stop us from enlightening ourselves, because enlightenment takes away fear.
Okay, so I mean that's like, all right. I get you got to really switch your brain to like be on board with this, because now we're doing like fucking psyche and like energy, right? Like
Yes,
fear.
yes.
Fear is like a thing that exists. Like bees can smell it and dogs can smell it.
When was
You
Well,
know?
when was the
even
last
just from a sociological perspective, I mean, it just keeps us distracted with negative thoughts and stuff and prevents us from actually doing anything significant with our lives. I don't even think you have to go into
and
the spiritual realm for that.
right in this realm, they were saying that a lot of our laws like create are like fear-based laws that
Oh,
like
sure.
are unnatural.
I think every law does that, right? Like if you
A
don't
lot.
do this, you will be in a cage. You'll get chained up and you'll be in a cage. That's a pretty fear-based system.
Right, I know, man. Like I've said that to Moose a few times where it's like, hey dude, like people that are older, when you hit someone you go to jail, so don't hit.
Oh, like punch. Yeah. I was
And
thinking
I'm
about
like,
cars. I was like, old people driving cars go to jail when they run into something? I'm sorry.
but it sucks to be like, oh, instead of like, hey, just be nice, it's like punishment. So just try to avoid the punishment. I'm like, fuck, dude, is that where
Yeah.
that's not a good way to.
It keeps you in your cage before you get put in jail. That's how they control you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sound stoned, but like that's yeah. Well, but when it comes to teaching Moose about that, like the reason it sucks to punch someone is because it hurts the person.
Oh no, yeah, we definitely get into that. Like, but like kids can't necessarily learn that other people can be hurt. You know what I mean? Even when they get hurt and be like, that's how they felt. There's still a
Well,
disconnect.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like they don't have the brain is not developed. Eric is working with like fifth graders, and he's just like, they don't understand ramifications. They're super selfish. Like everything is just about them, and like
It's probably so much worse now too, with like our
Yeah,
current society, the social media and everything.
just taking
yeah.
away the iPad from a kid is,
God, good on you for having kids, but I'm so glad I don't have kids, because it's like that's a whole other thing I would want to deal with.
it's a wrong time in human history,
Yeah.
no matter where you live on the earth, to have a
Yes,
kid.
everywhere is kind of fucked in the way. Yeah.
It begs the question, like, why is taking candy from a baby a thing? Because like when you do that, it causes problems. It's not easy. Like you can do it, but they're gonna fucking scream.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I guess
which
it's
baby are you
physically
talking about?
easy, but
Maybe
yeah.
a baby that's not currently eating the candy, just holding it.
Yeah, and like how old is this baby and why does he have candy? Because like babies
Parents
shouldn't have candy.
parents take candy away from kids all the time.
It's
And it's
easy,
easy.
but then you have to deal with the fallout, is what I mean.
Yeah. They might turn into a supervillain down the road because someone took candy away from them.
It's
And
just
they
not
spent,
as easy as you think. Speaking of the butterfly effect, I mean, like you take candy from a baby, that baby's gonna fucking grow up.
yeah, won't trust another person.
Something's wrong with me tonight. I just think that everything is fucked, and it's. I wish there were. I
You're not
wish.
wrong.
I know, but like, I don't want to. I don't want to. Like, I
No,
don't
you don't
want
want to
to
give
dwell
it.
on that.
You can only control your sphere of control in the world.
Well, but here's what I'm saying. Like, just to close this episode out, can we come up with one positive thing that this man could have meant when he said it's not what you think? Could it be God? What if it's God and he's just here and he's like, still checking on you and like hopefully you guys
I
figure it
wish.
out, but I'm a hands-off dude or whatever.
Well,
What's a positive thing that aliens could be?
if
Because
he's in with the military contractors, he's probably like, well, our enemies are going to shit their pants when they see this. This is good for
Yeah,
America.
dude.
It's probably
In
more
the
like that.
Bible,
and
in
we
the
all know
Bible,
that
there's
God is American.
Yeah.
there's definitely like stories of God taking sides in wars, which is like
Yes.
the
Sure.
craziest fucking thing to me. But I'm like, yeah, what if that's happening now? And it's like, well, you know what? God is real and he's not choosing America. So they're trying to hide it from you. So like keep, like they don't want you to know that he's actually like, against you.
Right, because we're Cobra and some other countries G.I. Joe.
Yeah. I mean, but in the realm of positivity, I'm just going like,
Yeah,
well,
please.
I personally think that showing proof to our society that something else does exist can be very positive because it kind of, it just makes us rethink. It's like the parallel is a kid has no empathy for another kid until their brain develops enough to feel that empathy. And so take that to the an existential level of we don't know that we're ruining everything in the universe because we like picture our landfills, like picture nuclear energy. Everything
Oh,
we're doing has no consequences for anything that we do. And so we are
absolutely.
kids in the same vein.
Well, if you look
trying
at the
to-
generations, like the boomers, like they don't think about any long-term consequences for us, And Gen X is a little better about that, but if you look at the way we live our lives generationally, we are not thinking about the future at all.
Right, and that's why I think like this is it's impossible to be optimistic because if aliens came and they're like, you're fucking it up, this is the way to do it. Just look at like America versus like Sweden or whatever. I'm not saying they're the happiest people. One of those Scandinavian countries is.
Sweden sounds right.
They've got it more figured out than we do, but like we refuse to do that because that means giving money to people who didn't earn it. If aliens came, it would be the exact same talking points where it's like, no, we have the answers, just listen to us. There would be just so much like, oh, but I'll lose my money if people
politicized
do that.
immediately. Yeah.
It'd be politicized, and so we've yet to come up with an optimistic thing that these things could be. What if they're just anything optimistic? You can't do it because if it's free energy, it's like, well, no, but then because the people who get money from energy they're gonna stamp it down. Like there's nothing positive that can come from any of this.
I know,
unless the aliens directly unless the aliens directly intervene and like enforce it on some level.
Yeah, the only way that any of these UAPs can be a positive thing is if aliens take over the planet and turn us into nice people. That's the only way.
Even that would be a thing.
Because then we'd be like, well, don't tell me what to do.
We'd start a war. Yeah.
We would fight the aliens. They'd be like, we got it all. We got it. Do you want it? No.
Well, why would you trust the aliens though, too? Like,
yeah. Oh no, cows are sacred. No, I'm gonna eat my burger. You can't come here and tell me not to eat my burger.
Don't tell me not to eat my burger. Burger's as American as a hot dog. Fucking idiot.
It is. Yeah.
It's so frustrating. I'm sorry. There's just nothing positive that can come out of any of this shit. It sucks. Do drugs. Yep. Just do all the drugs. Yeah.
Well, especially mushrooms.
Just check out of this. Just do all the drugs. Do them all. I don't care. Do fucking cocaine and punch a guy in the face. It doesn't matter. Go to jail. Who cares?
Just make sure you get a TV show from doing it. Go big.
Spin it. So if you're smart, if you're
just
savvy,
do a Twitch channel.
Do a Twitch channel where you punch guys you do cocaine, you punch guys in the face. Then you can pay for your lawyer bills.
I feel like that's where
sadly,
we're
that
going
would
as a
work so
society.
good.
Yeah, that's definitely the future. Is that
Oh,
we're
is he gonna
totally
get
going
this
to
guy?
it?
Is he gonna get this guy? Oh,
It's
like,
going to be a
no.
cyberpunk future where it's like it's going to be idiocracy mixed with cyberpunk.
It'll be
Just gonna-
it'll be a more brutal idiocracy.
Ow, my balls.
I like the
Only it'll
psychological version too, where it's like, no, he's not going to kick him in the balls. He's going to somehow diminish his mind.
I will say that
It's
we
a
haven't
slow
totally
burn.
crossed that line yet.
He's going
because
to
there are-
gaslight him. He's going to gaslight him until he kills himself, basically.
He has 1 hour to ruin this guy. All right, let's see what he does.
That's definitely going to happen. We're not there yet though, because I've seen videos of people that like they go into supermarkets and they like lick all the food or whatever. And that shit, people do not reward that shit. They get shut down and identified. And
So there is okay, that's the one
there are
optimistic thing
lines
that we have.
There are lines.
There's the line in the sand of like, just don't fuck with people who don't know that you're fucking with them, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess that's one way of putting it. Yeah.
That's
the real police state. You know what I mean? Where it's like, there's certain things that you shouldn't do, like shit in the beans, you know?
Everyone hates when you shit in the beans. We will not give you money for doing that. Stop doing that.
No one wants to watch that because it immediately evokes a gag reflex.
Yeah.
So unless you can give her that gag reflex.
But then you think of all the beans that you've eaten, right?
Yeah. Then the bean market goes down, and then we have an economic crash.
Then the big bean industry comes in. And
yeah.
They fucking
don't mess with big bean.
I just like, Willie, please tell me. And listen, I'm not asking you to come up with a new thing, and we do have to wrap it up. But like, what's the optimism for these things, and why are people so fucking into it? Like, what is the intrigue with these things? Is it just curiosity?
Well, in the real realm of consequences for whistleblowing, which we just can't get out of, if you have a secret that you feel like could change humanity, this is why whistleblowing happens in the UFO realm so often, no matter how they've been threatened. It's so enlightening to know that there's something else. There's another intelligent being that exists. And maybe this is me just being hopeful that like it's right. There is something better.
Yeah, maybe someone can come and save us is basically where we're at, right?
Yeah. And I've always hated that, because I don't want to say aliens are going to save us, because then we don't learn anything.
Well, I've been going down a rabbit hole like that recently, where I've just been looking at the parallels. Because I was watching an interview and someone mentioned that a lot of the UFO stuff, like you see these UFO cults like Rail, like I talked about this a little bit before the show, Willie, they have parallels to religion, right? So then what religion is going to morph into is more of an, because people still ultimately want to believe in something beyond themselves. I think there is something built into us psychologically as people to want that. And like, UFO stuff is it's happening very slowly, but I think in a century or so, UFO stuff is going to be like treated like religion is now.
Right. And that's not going to solve anything.
It's going to be a more secular form of religion, but still believing in something extraordinary. But yes, it's still going to boil down to the whole God argument that we have now.
Sure.
Just in a different form. It's part of being human. That's the part that's fascinating, because even as we move away from religion, we still move to something else always.
Everything that we talked about, whistleblowers getting stamped out, right? Doth protest too much, government. If there's nothing to hide, then what's your problem with this guy trying to sell alien books?
Yeah.
Let him sell his fucking alien books.
That is a red flag for sure.
All right. Let's wrap it
up. That's why I'm not a total skeptic. That's the thing. That's why I'm not a total skeptic.
I know. And it's funny because skepticism comes from pessimism, right? You're pessimist. So like the optimistic view of aliens is being skeptical of your government, which is in itself not an optimistic viewpoint. I don't know what that means. I think that means that everyone's a fucking enigma and our brains are crazy. Maybe just our leaders are sociopaths.
Yeah,
but at any rate,
I lean in that direction, because I still say this over and over, like, show me a human that didn't get corrupted by their power. Even in personal examples of in my life, that all my heroes in my life have definitely been the worst, and I don't like to hear that. And sure, maybe nobody should be on a pedestal. Maybe the lesson is more forgiveness than holding anybody up to this standard that we can't do anything wrong.
I mean, I try not to do that too. I don't give anybody credence because they are better at life than I am. Bill Cosby doesn't get to like drug women. Like we got him eventually.
Yeah.
But the point is, then they have money, and then they can buy people to keep their secret for them. And Moles, you got any plugs?
Not really. I'm not working right now, so I'm just playing video games. I'm not complaining though. I'm not in any immediate need to find something, but I don't have anything to plug. Just listen to all my real life sci-fi episodes. See if you can count how many episodes I've been on, and
Yeah,
there should be like a jelly bean count.
out.
Yeah,
It'd be nice if
yes.
we could get a report on like how much Moles has changed over the years. That'd be fun.
I think I have, because I used to be skeptical. I'm still pretty even-handed. But
if you could create a podcast about our podcast, we would support you.
Okay. Real life sci-fi.
Thanks for listening. Everything. Nope. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. Patreon.com/RealLifeSciFi. 2 bonus episodes. It's a lot of fun. We're gonna have more fun on and a lot of this is me. I'm trying to get out of this funk. I don't know what's going on, man. I just hate the world and I hate everything. Thanks for listening.
We'll come up with something positive for the more. So look out for that. Join our Patreon to listen to it. See if it works for us.